Good morning. This is the weekend update for Saturday, April 27th. We actually had an update on Friday, despite the fact that somehow GDP was disappointing to the guessers/economists. When I actually read the report when I got up Friday morning, I actually had to do a double take because I thought I was looking at last year's report when I saw that they actually had expectations of 3% for Q1 GDP, and when it came in at 2.5%, supposedly the business media and the guessers were disappointed. I was just amazed that they actually had an estimate of 3% out there. You know, we've got sequester, government spending down large in Q1. We've had the nonsense going on in Europe with Cyprus and whatever. For them to have an expectation of 3%, just bizarre. And after we had, let's look at the 15-minute chart. After we had a little bit of a dip on the open, market actually bounced back pretty nicely. And the naysayers out there, of course, bashing everything they can. And the rally that everyone hates continued higher. On the 15-minute chart, you can see we've kind of fallen into this small little range. And, back to that Dow transportation stock, it sort of indicates the back and forth chop that we've been seeing in the market over the last 3 or 4 days. But this little bit of chop has actually been fantastic for us because little chop market like this with a kind of an upward bias, kind of deadness in the large cap stocks is great for the small cap and micro cap stocks. And we've seen a lot of nice chart setup plays bust out nicely for us over the last few days. Very, very nice week for a lot of chart plays, and that should continue into next week. Looking at the Dow transportation stock, you can see it's holding above all its moving averages, and we did break above that downtrend line. But we really need to get above that 6,200 level. You can see we've had very, very nice buying volume in the trannies over the last few days, and we saw a positive MACD cross. Now, going lockstep with that is, of course, oil. We had that big pop over the last couple of days and a little bit of a consolidation on Friday. May see that consolidation again on Monday before we try to get a push up to back to that $9,800 level on oil. Here is the daily chart on the Dow, and you can see, as we talked about in the last video, we are pulling out of that extreme negative MACD and sort of treading water as we are on the Dow Transports. The breakout, next breakout is 14,900, and then it'll be off to the 15Ks, and maybe a 15K print might bring Joe Average back into this market because it's still a market that's dominated by the hedge funds and mutual funds. And the few traders of us that are out there, there was an article out or a little bit of blurb that it is the lowest number, according to the Department of Labor, people that classify themselves as traders since they began taking records 20 plus years ago. Market dominated by robots. Average guy still not in this market. We'll know they're in when we see the microcap stocks blow up, but we haven't seen that impact yet on the market. Now, as we talk about this rally that everyone hates, we're coming up to, and you're going to start hearing about it in the media big time over the next few days, is the sell in May and go away. Given that the last 3 years the market has topped out and sold out right about this time, usually on some sort of crap from Europe, and we're probably going to see more of the same over the next couple of weeks. But we've got two things that could possibly happen. One of them is we have what we have seen over the last 3 years, the annual sell in May and go away, and the market retraces and the bears rejoice. Or this market continues to do what it has done throughout this year, frustrate pretty much everyone, especially shorts and bears, and just continue to rally higher. I think we could see that happen if we break above 15K, and that might finally bring the really speculative money into this market. Am I betting on the downside right now? Nope. I wouldn't even. This market has been death to most shorts. And, a stock that typifies that is Apple. And you recall about 6 weeks or so ago, we had a downtrend break in Apple, and we called a little buy alert on it with some options. And Apple had that big sell-off midweek on its disappointing guidance and earnings report. But over the last 2 days, the stock has actually managed to break that downtrend line that goes back to the March top that it had. And the charts indicate that Apple could be poised for a pretty decent move over the next few days. Options have actually gotten pretty cheap on this stock, which tells you that the crazy money, the chasers, are pretty much out, and that can tend to be the time you see a big move in the stock price. Apple June $450, $460 calls are actually rather cheap. They're in they're under $5 and could give 50 to 75% upside over the next couple of weeks. As I said, we got that downtrend break. We've got the 50-day moving average at 434. This is where they'll really start to chase if it breaks it. But we could be in store for a couple of week up move in Apple. We've got RSI ready to break 50. We saw a positive MACD cross on Friday. Stochastics about to break the 50 level. So if you're looking for a large cap options play, Apple may be something to look at over the next few days, and you'd probably be looking at having your stops around $400 to $405 if you do take that option trade. June, July, 450s, 460s look like they could give some decent upside. Quick mention on the Russell. You see Russell, a little bit of a pause. It's getting halted right here at this resistance line at the on RSI. Positive MACD cross. Stochastics still look good. Let's see if we get that push through over the next few days. I'm very encouraged by the action we saw in a lot of small cap stocks over the last couple of days. So even if we do see the large caps continue to tread water a little bit next week, I think we're going to start to see the small caps take a leadership role. And on that note, Goldman Sachs actually came out on Friday and said they expect the small cap stocks to outperform the S&P 500 double, meaning they expect a 14% gain on the small cap stocks versus a 7% gain on the S&P 500. So that, again, is a bullish sign going forward. But anyway, let's jump into some stock plays. OCLR, one of those nice chart setups I said that's starting to work nicely. We jumped into this one on Thursday. Closed very, very strong and gapped and romped on Friday. We got as high as 141 before we got a nice little dip back to 133 and then some late day strength on this one. Chart looks great. Volume is starting to build exactly like we saw back in early March when we had that big 35+% move over the course of a few days. Next breakout, 141 gives us a move up to that 152, 154 area. Chart looks great for a continuation move this week. Similar tech play, ACLS, stock we got into on Friday on this range break. We got as high as 131, then the penny scalpers came in. And then, given that it was a Friday, we saw a little bit of weakness into the close. Really like this setup here. Next break on Monday through 131 should set this one free for a move up to 145. Chart looks very, very nice. Kind of similar to what we saw on MTSN a couple of weeks ago. It had been trapped in a very long trading range under $1.43, and it finally broke that 2 weeks ago and ended up popping about 25 cents on big volume. So would be looking for a big volume spike on this stock. Hopefully we get it on Monday/Tuesday. Volume over 1.52 million shares, and we're off to the races on this stock. AXTI. LED stocks have been on fire over the last few days. Let's pull up one of the leaders, RVLT. Just a monster move really all year, but it especially picked up over the last week. Stock up almost 50% and continues to run on big, big volume. $250 million market cap, 4 million sales. You know, that's just the kind of froth we have in this market. But other ones that have been moving, LEDS, big move over the last few days. GTAT, that one actually got a fast money pump. They probably shorted their pump, but this one pretty volatile and up very, very nicely as well. But AXTI, pretty unknown. These guys actually provide, like GTAT, the ingredients you need to make LEDs. Nice breakout from the flag on Friday, but again, because it was a Friday, we saw some bull crap painting on the close, so that's why you got that candle there. 50-day moving average 291, pushed through that on Monday, and the 200-day moving average is the first target, but this is a stock that could really scoot nicely higher, up to the 340s. RSI about to break 50, positive MACD cross. I would be a buyer anywhere in the 280s, stops 270 to 275. A little bit of rope because it's a low volume play and it's not exactly a stock you're going to load up on. But this one could be a very, very nice mover early next week. WYY holding up very, very well. This past week we had Schwab on Wednesday. Their accounts get hacked. On Friday, there was a huge hack with Living Social. 50 million of their accounts were hacked, passwords, etc. Cybersecurity is becoming big news, and these guys are big in this market. They're profitable. Earnings are 2 weeks away. This one is coiled for a big move, and as I said before, I believe the only reason it's being held back is it trades on the Amex Scamex index. If this was a NASDAQ stock, it'd be $2 a share versus this gaming 100-share bid print crap that is typical of Amex traded stocks. Nice move ready to happen here. And when it goes like it did on Thursday, you're going to blink and the stock is going to be romping. And really a stock that should be trading over $1 per share in my opinion. JAG. Very nice setup for us on Thursday. And then Friday was kind of treading water, even with gold up pretty big on the day. And then we had a huge reversal in gold, and the miners got sold. Kind of disappointing. What I would say going forward, probably even should have said it in the chat room or sent out an email on it, is when we had gold still continuing on Thursday and on Friday, and the miners not doing much, the prudent course of action would have been to reduce positions to half or all and then wait for a break of the 20-day exponential. So we had a nice gain on this one on Wednesday, Thursday. I kind of called it poorly. I should have had us out of this one sooner. But irregardless, if we do see another uptick in gold early next week, we're about to get a positive MACD cross on this one. Stochastic's looking good. So that 50-day moving average, if you're able to ignore the noise that we're seeing in the chart and still sitting in it, 40-cent stops, or wait for a break of the 40 or 20-day exponential at 47 cents for another try on this one. And I just called this one poorly, but I still think it's one to definitely keep an eye on over the next few days. Last but not least, I want to make a quick mention on AMD. This is a stock to keep an eye on. It's in a very nice little trading range and has been over all of this year, really between 280 and 250. It's at the top of the range now and looking to pull back. I'd be watching this pullback very, very closely around the 250 and under area for the Xbox launch in May. I believe it's May 21st they're expected to launch. These guys their chip is in the new Xbox. But looking at a one-year chart, this trading channel break, if we got a break of the 200-day moving average at $293, $3, this is a stock that could get a 20 to 40% move rather quickly. So this is one of those trades, chart setups to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks, and we'll go over it, if it gets ready to develop. Just one to throw out there to keep in mind, kind of like that Apple call. So that's it for the video. We've got some very, very nice setups going into this next week. Very, very enthusiastic about the very nice action we saw. Chart plays are starting to work very, very nicely for us, and that is a great sign. We're starting to see some action, some speculative money come into the stocks that we play, and that bodes very, very well for the next week. So have a great weekend, and I will see you guys in the chat room on Monday. Bye.